You still have a job. You're still getting paid. Your life looks normal. And that's exactly why this is dangerous. Because AI isn't making you poor by firing you. It's doing something far worse. It's making you slowly irrelevant. So quietly that you won't notice it happening until one day you look up and realize your future is already gone. Most people think disruption looks loud. Layoffs, headlines, panic. But real economic damage doesn't look like chaos. It looks like stability. You wake up. You go to work. You do what you're told. You get paid. Nothing feels wrong. And that's the trap. Let me ask you something. Has your salary really gone up in the last few years? Not on paper. In real life. After inflation, after rent, after food, after energy bills. For most people, the honest answer is no. And here's the part that should bother you. You didn't get worse at your job. You didn't become lazy. You didn't stop learning. You actually got better. More experienced. More efficient. More reliable. Yet somehow, you're worth less. That's not a coincidence. And it's definitely not your fault. In the old system, companies paid more for three things: experience, skill, time. If you stayed longer, learned more, delivered better work, your value went up. That system is gone. Today, companies don't pay for effort. They don't pay for loyalty. They don't even pay for expertise. They pay for output. And AI just made output cheap. Not perfect. Not brilliant. Not even human level. Just cheap enough. Cheap enough to question why they should pay you more. Cheap enough to slow your growth. Cheap enough to cap your future. AI didn't need to replace you. It just needed to reduce your leverage. So companies didn't fire you. They froze your salary. They quietly removed bonuses. They delayed promotions. They reduced hiring. More responsibility. Same pay. You're still inside the system. Still working. Still contributing. But the ladder you were climbing, it's gone. And because nothing dramatic happened, you accepted it. You told yourself it's the economy. You told yourself it's temporary. You told yourself things will improve. But this isn't a phase. It's a structural shift. AI didn't walk in and take jobs overnight. It changed how value is measured. Before, your value was tied to what only you could do. Now, it's compared to what a machine can do for almost nothing. That comparison alone is enough to make you poorer every year. And here's the most dangerous part. You don't feel poor. You feel stable. You feel busy. You feel exhausted. You're working harder than ever just to stand still. That's how people become poor in the modern world. Not through collapse, through compression. Your income flattens. Your costs rise. Your options shrink. And because it happens slowly, you don't fight it. You adapt to it. By the time you realize what's happening, you're not asking for growth anymore. You're asking for security. And that's when the system knows it has already won. You're still getting paid. Your life looks normal. And that's exactly why this is dangerous. Because AI isn't making you poor by firing you. It's doing something far worse. It's making you slowly irrelevant, so quietly that you won't notice until your future is already gone. The illusion. 040-200 kalk. Let me ask you something. Has your salary really gone up in the last few years? Not on paper. In real life. After inflation. After rent. After food. After energy bills. Most people will say no. And here's the scary part. You didn't get worse at your job. You got better. More experienced. More efficient. But somehow, you're worth less. That's not an accident. In the past, companies paid more for experience, skill, time, Today they pay for output. And AI just made output cheap. Not better. Not perfect. Just cheap enough to replace the value of humans. So companies didn't fire you. They froze your salary. They cut bonuses. They slowed promotions. They hired fewer people. You're still inside the system. But the latter? It's gone. How AI quietly deletes your economic value. AI didn't replace jobs. It replaced leverage. Before AI, if you were good at something, writing, designing, coding, analyzing, you had negotiating power. Now, your boss knows something you don't want to admit. If you ask for more, I can get 70% of your work done for almost free. That changes everything. AI doesn't need to be amazing. It just needs to be fast, cheap, available. Companies don't need brilliance. They need acceptable results at scale. So instead of one highly paid expert, they use one human plus AI or 10 AI tools plus one overseer. And suddenly, your skill becomes a commodity. Same output. Lower cost. No loyalty. The biggest losers aren't factory workers. They're office workers, freelancers, graduates, junior professionals, people who were promised, study hard and you'll be safe. AI broke that promise. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. Why most people will never recover. I created two groups. Group 1, people who own systems, automate, scale, control distribution. Group 2, people who sell time, compete globally, get compared to machines. If you're paid hourly, monthly, or per task, you're in the second group. And AI is pushing your value down every year. Here's the lie that keeps people stuck. I just need to learn AI. Learning AI won't save you if you're still selling your time. Because everyone else is learning it too. The value doesn't come from using AI. It comes from owning attention, owning distribution, owning systems that work while you sleep. Most people never make that shift. The future. Most people will face. Here's what poverty will look like in the AI era. Not homelessness, not hunger, but no savings, no leverage, no upward movement, working forever, just to stay in the same place. Invisible poverty. AI isn't evil, but it doesn't care about you. If you don't move up the value chain, you don't fall dramatically. You fade out slowly. And by the time you realize it, it's already too late. The question isn't, will AI take my job? The real question is, why am I getting poorer while working harder? AI didn't replace jobs. That's the story everyone focuses on. The real damage is quieter. AI replaced leverage. Before this shift, being good at something meant power. If you could write well, design well, code well, analyze well, you had something valuable. You could negotiate. You could switch jobs. You could walk away. Your skill gave you options. AI didn't destroy those skills. It flooded the market with alternatives. Now when you ask for more, you're no longer compared to another human. You're compared to a tool that doesn't get tired, doesn't ask for raises, doesn't take holidays, doesn't care. And your boss knows this. They may never say it out loud, but the calculation is always there. If this person becomes difficult, I can get most of this work done for almost nothing. That thought alone changes the balance of power. You don't need to be replaced to become replaceable. AI doesn't need to be amazing. It doesn't need creativity. It doesn't need taste. It just needs to be fast, cheap, available. Companies don't chase perfection. They chase scale. Acceptable results delivered instantly at near zero cost. That's enough to destroy bargaining power. So instead of one highly paid expert, they use one human with AI support, or 10 AI tools overseen by one exhausted employee. The output looks similar. The cost is dramatically lower. And suddenly, your skill stops being special. It becomes a commodity. Same output, lower cost, no loyalty. This is why salaries stall. This is why promotions disappear. This is why experience no longer guarantees security. The system doesn't need to punish you. It just needs to stop rewarding you. And this is hitting the wrong people first. Not factory workers, not delivery drivers, not cleaners. The biggest losers are the ones who followed the rules. Office workers, freelancers, graduates, junior professionals, people who were told, study hard, get a degree, build skills, you'll be safe. That promise worked in a world where skills were scarce. AI changed that. Now skills are abundant, global, instant. Your competition isn't the person in the next city anymore. It's a machine trained on millions of examples, working for pennies. And because this shift is invisible, people blame themselves. They think they're not good enough, not fast enough, not specialized enough. So they work longer hours. They take on more tasks. They accept worse terms. They trade dignity for stability. But the harder they work, the clearer the truth becomes. Effort no longer equals progress. And the system doesn't correct this imbalance. It benefits from it. Because a worker with no leverage is the easiest worker to control. AI has now created a divide that most people don't see yet. Not between rich and poor, not between employed and unemployed, but between ownership and dependence. There are two groups forming. The first group owns systems. They automate. They scale. They control distribution. They use AI to multiply effort, not sell it. The second group sells time. They get paid hourly, monthly, or per task. They compete globally. They get compared to machines. If you're in the second group, AI pushes your value down every single year. Not because you're useless, but because you're measurable. And anything measurable can be optimized. And anything optimized can be undercut. This is where most people get trapped by a dangerous lie. If I just learn AI, I'll be safe. Learning AI helps. But it doesn't save you if you're still selling your time. Because everyone else is learning it too. When AI becomes common, the advantage disappears. The real value was never in using the tool. It was in owning the outcome, owning attention, owning distribution, owning systems that work without your presence. Most people never make that shift, not because they're stupid, but because the system doesn't encourage it. It trains you to be useful, not powerful. So the future most people face doesn't look like disaster. It looks like survival. No savings, no leverage, no upward movement. Working year after year just to stay in the same place. That's what poverty looks like in the AI era. Not hunger, not homelessness, invisible poverty. And here's the hardest truth. AI isn't evil. It isn't personal. It isn't unfair. It simply doesn't care. It rewards scale. It rewards ownership. It rewards control. If you don't move up the value chain, you don't fall off a cliff. You fade out slowly. Your income stagnates. Your options narrow. Your future shrinks. And by the time you fully understand what happened, the system has already adjusted around you. The question was never, will AI take my job? The real question is, why am I getting poorer while working harder? And once you ask that honestly, you'll realize the danger was never sudden. It was invisible.